Hello everyone, welcome back to a new episode of the Harstem Hour, and I want to show you guys a thing about scouting. So, I'm playing on my account, the Cowboy, because I'm gonna yeehaw this guy out of the game, but also because I just want to show you guys how, whenever I see something, how I react to it, and what are the clues that I'm looking for. People always ask me about this. It's like, hey, what are you looking for? So, I'm gonna try to describe it as in-depth as possible. Whenever I do any type of scouting to tell you what I'm looking at. And we can go over the replay afterwards as well to see if my calls were correct or not. And then we can take it from there. Now, some of these things are not going to be too useful for a lot of you, because they're gonna be very minor reads, which at lower level, they just don't matter as much if you see a barracks 3 or 4 seconds faster. But I still think it's interesting to know whenever you're watching a game of StarCraft, you can be like, hey, that's a barracks first. I know what that means. So, first of all, I want to divide the way that Terrans can open. If we're talking about openers that start with a command center, let's hope that this guy is playing with a quick command center. Come on, my friend, show me what you got. Wait, is this a wall? Okay. This is a barracks first. This means that he's, you see the gas that he's mined reaches 50 as his barracks finishes. So he can start a Reaper. But his factory is going to be slightly delayed. Right, he forgot to block my natural rookie move. Now the second thing I want to scout is if he's opening with... Oh crap, I'm supposed to build a pylon first. Is if he's opening with a Marine or with a Reaper. So I check. At 146 the Marine would pop. The Marine isn't out, which means this is a Reaper opener. Now, that means any type of pressure, any type of aggression that he can do from a factory opener is going to be delayed by about 15 to 20 seconds. If he plays gas first, so gas before barracks, that means the barracks finishes at 133. In that case, we would be looking at the faster timings, or if he opens with a Marine, because then he saves the 50 gas that usually he would invest in the Reaper. I'm surprised we're not seeing a Reaper yet. Usually pops around at 226, 227. It's a little bit late with that for some reason, but I'm not gonna blame him too much for that. Yeah, I like that. The move up there is good. Now I'm gonna go find him, hopefully. Always looking out for where the Reaper might pop up, you know? Always interesting. So, ooh, that's a mistake by him. So, the reason I say this is a mistake by him is now he's gonna for sure lose his Reaper. And he won't have any scouting. Now, he did see that I have an Adept and a Sentry. But you can really still get anything out of an Adept and a Sentry. Like, you can still play... You can go Blink, you can play Phoenix even if you want. With a delayed Stargate. All of these things are pretty normal. Now, so far all I know is that if he's playing Factory, it's gonna be about... It's gonna hit me around 440. Okay? So I'm gonna be scouting with my trusty hallucination here. And I send it out in such a way that I'm going to be able to spot the first unit coming out of the Stargate as well. You don't want to send it immediately, actually. So, okay, I see 2 mines. 1 mine was burrowed here, 1 mine burrowed here. This kind of looks a lot like a mine drop to me. Ideally, I keep it alive so I can see that it's indeed a medevac starting and not a liberator or something like that. But yeah, this is, to me, this is pretty clear. So, I'm going to go move some units around the map, just for spotting. So you see on my minimap right now I can see pretty much everything coming, and because I know the initial timing of the barracks, I know the first timing my opponent's going to be hitting is around 435 if he goes in a straight line towards me. Now I have the entire left side covered, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I position my units here, I should be able to spot anything coming in. I can even build a pylon over here as well. And here, see? I see it coming in on the minimap. I walk to this area. I don't think he should be going in here. Yeah, this is a mistake. Hopefully I can... Okay, wait, yeah, this was a good job by him. He managed to delay me a bit longer, but... If you get a full pool with your workers and your opponent, you get a full pull with your works, your opponent only gets one pro per thing and loses everything, that's generally good for the Protoss, because it allows me to move across the map with these stalkers. If I want to be safe, I send out another hallucination scout to make sure there's no second medevac on the way. But even if there's a second medevac on the way, I killed the first one. And if he has a second medevac with 3 mines, it means he hasn't been producing tanks. And then these 7 stalkers will be able to do a lot of damage. And you get like a semi-base trade scenario. Not a real base trade, that's why it's called a semi-base trade. Yeah, so you're here to do some damage now. So people always wonder like, hey, whenever I move out with my stalkers, they always go in with their mine drop. Well, it's because you're moving out before you destroy the first mine drop. Oh, what the hell, you kept going. Okay, I've never seen that. Well, I've seen it before, but it's a big play. But it's not great, I think. It's not a great play. I think I lost 2 stalkers there though, so kudos to him. Now, because I'm seeing Marauders, I know this is a 3-Rex rather than a triple CC so far. So it could have been triple CC, obviously. It can always be triple CC. But that's not the case this time. This time it's going to just be a 3-Rex, and I'm not seeing a Raven, so I'm gonna assume it's gonna hit relatively quick. And we want some vision on the map. Actually, I should have already built a pylon here and a pylon here, so I can easily see what's coming for me. Oh, whoa, whoa. Well, I managed to actually figure out what he's doing a little bit in a bit of a lucky way. So I know exactly where it's at now. Ooh, I'm supply blocked. That's not good usually. But we're already out of it again. I want to clear most of the time these mines before they can truly hit something. I mean, this is a minor hit, I don't care about that. Now I want to see, hey, does he have a 3rd base or not? So I'm moving over, see, hey, he has a 3rd base. That's cool. Gives me some more information. I can go into a robo, bay, and into a 2nd robo if I want to. I probably shouldn't have lost all of them for free like that. Should have probably picked them up a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit of a pickup. This is a very bad pylon, as it covers a lot of things. And now what I want to be looking at is I want to be looking at, hey, how many gases does my opponent have? How many, like, what is the count of the E-base? You know, that type of stuff. I just more like little reads, basically, of like me knowing what's going to happen in the next minute and a half. First of all, okay, there's no gas here yet. I see a turret. Usually it's odd to make turrets if you're planning on attacking soon. Okay, you see what? +1 upgrades. Nothing too big so far. And I want to get a couple of Colossi out. Now, I'm not seeing extra gases yet, so this is going to be a base that I'm going to build, but I'm not actually going to probe it up yet. I don't want to. Let's see if I can sneak in here. Oh yeah, I can. Nice turret, buddy. I'm proud of you. Oh, he's actually lowering those. Okay, this means he has an armory because the mines are now invisible while burrowed, and he opened this up. I'm also seeing a lot of marines here. I'm actually somewhat surprised. So as I see him move out because of my map vision, I'm gonna send in a small run by. Now this run by should do 2 things. Uh-oh. First of all, it might be able to do some damage, but also it might pull the units from his main to his natural. Okay, we see a 4th base. This is interesting. Interesting stuff indeed. So, and then when he pulls those away, I can go in here and maybe I can even do a warping. Nah, it's not necessary. Oh, and then we catch his army in the middle of the map. We make little donuts of him. And then we just win the game. Oh. That's a good game to start with, though. You never really want to get more than 3 Colossi, actually. After that, you go into Disruptors. He hasn't really shown me any follow-up tech yet. I also usually, whenever I see a 3rd base... Oh, that was Viking. Okay. Whenever I see a 3rd base, I usually go into a 2nd Forge immediately. I didn't do it this game because I forgot. This pylon. Just gonna have a zealot over here. Now, the way you always want to engage against Terran, especially when you have Colossi, is you're constantly moving back and forth. Oh wait, what the hell? He's coming from the back. Well, in that case, I don't want to move to the back. Just want to move forward. Yeah, this fight actually was pretty bad for me. I'm still winning pretty hard because I killed almost everything he had, but actually, am I winning pretty hard? Now, this is why you don't fight without knowing where your opponent's army is. This is gonna be good for me to show you guys exactly what I did wrong. And the reason I say this is still fine is because I think it's still fine. What is this? Okay, yeah, good. But it was a very bad fight, let's be real here. I'm not happy with that at all. It's fine because I killed every single worker that he had. So it's like he's just relying on mules at this point. I also have disruptors out, which are units that are generally quite good. Ooh, nice eyes. So he's gonna need to do some actual damage at this point. He has a lot of freaking units though. I'm a little bit afraid. I'm not gonna lie. Oh yes, that was a good hit. I think I lost. No. I'm not afraid at all. Come on, I need to blink back.
Upgrade complete. Your warriors have engaged the enemy.
This is very tricky here for me. Man, I'm actually losing this game, I think. That would not be good. How can I give advice if I can't even win myself? There's some interesting questions. Okay, well. We've seen him on 2-1 so far. Does he have a turret here? No, I didn't see a turret. Oh, we're kiting back. Oh. Please. What's it, 2-2 right now? So we're getting +3 on our units. I think we're slightly behind actually. In our
Your warriors have engaged the enemy. Upgrade complete.
we're slightly behind in upgrades. Oh. And we still see no extra attack from him basically, which is annoying me. Because he definitely should be getting extra attack. Now I want to spread out some Zealot to get some map vision. This is going to be a good game to look at after. I made a lot of errors, which is always very nice. First game of the day though, huh? It is what it is, guys. Always have excuses ready as well when you're about to lose. Okay, so he has a turret there now. I see a lot of Vikings. Now, against Vikings, a nice thing to do is to have a lot of freaking disruptors. As long as you have like 7-8 disruptors, he can't do anything unless he gets liberators out or a bunch of tanks. And I don't think he's gonna be able to get a bunch of liberators out. So we need to feel safe at this point. We need a way bigger army because our army size really sucks. Like, we have a nice gateway count, but we can't use it. It's low testosterone. Actually, I don't want to send more units over there. Yeah, I need a sentry as well, of course, for Guardian Shield. Now, usually I'd say we'd be going... Okay, how many... Oh, he doesn't have a lot. He doesn't have a lot at all. Okay, so with my vision, I think I can actually predict where he's gonna go. Please tell me this is fake. Okay, look at this. Ah, wait, he scanned. Otherwise, what I always do is I just send... I send one ball to him. It's like, here you go, my friend. This one's for you. This one's for you. Now, our army is looking better and better. We still see he's only on 4 bases. We could say, hey, we could move out a little bit here and see if we can do something. But really, it's not that necessary at this point. Even though I wouldn't mind fighting, actually. I really wouldn't mind fighting. And I feel like he's trying to secure this left base with his the way he's moving his army. It smells like he really wants to secure that base, huh? I also feel like he wants to do some big drop into my main base, and I'm not a fan of that. So we're getting our +3 now. Okay, here we go. He still has a tiny army. Okay, yeah. Like I said, he's actually just...
Your warriors have engaged the enemy.
Yeah, it felt like he was trying to clear something, you know? It did feel like that. So, as a result, we now know absolutely everything. We can blink back here, or blink back, what you call it. Oh! Attack my own units. That's not what you're supposed to do. This is just to get him to piss off. Yeah, he's definitely securing that left side. Or trying to. Yeah, he's not going to be able to. I'm too good for that, obviously. There's no way. This. And then rup. Usually I wouldn't suggest this, using all at once, because he might still have a big army, but I know he doesn't have a big army, so... He has a tiny army. But it's not the size of the... Well, actually, the size of the army is really important. It is the size of the army. If you have a small army, you just can't win. The girls don't like that. Maybe I can kill him. Never blink forward either. Unless it's for sniping medevacs. Because you want to be pushing him back with your disruptor, basically. Like that. GG. Okay, now this is a fun little game to look at. So, one more time, we're just gonna go over it from start to finish, kind of. Or at least from... Yeah, actually, let's just go over it from start to finish. Nice little 17-minute game. And then just quickly have a look at what are the options that he had and what he didn't do. I know a lot of you will be struggling with things like 3 barracks. I know this is a very big thing that people keep asking me about, and I can't show them how to beat it because no one plays it. It's just not a build at high level. And the reason why it's not a very good build at high level is because it gives the Terran 0 scouting information. Whenever you're playing a factory build, Terran gets some information or some safety through whatever aggression or defensive unit they get from either the starport or the factory. So if I'm thinking, for example, if you're thinking of tanks, well, they give safety, but they also give an ability to attack, like with a 1-1-1 push. If you think Banshees, they give harassment, but they also give scouting. Same with a Widow Mine. They give some safety against oracles, against early stuff, and then they can give you scouting and perhaps damage. Like there's an early Hellion, can get you some scouting, maybe 1 or 2 probe kills. You just don't have any of these options with triple barracks play. So either the triple barracks player needs to play very safe, make blind turrets, basically prepare for every all-in possible because he can't scout, or plays very risky and then dies against a bunch of things. And even if you have like, for example, if you play Blink against 3 racks, it's not great, but there are certain things you can do, and I'll show you guys exactly where to do it. So first of all, let's just quickly go over my build order. It's just a standard... Well, let's just do it from the start then, shall we not? It's a standard 14 pylon, 16 gate, 17 gas, 20 nexus, 20 pylon, 21 gas. Well, I know I built my gas before my pylon this game, but let's pretend that didn't happen. Whenever I say these numbers, by the way, if you're not aware, that means the supply at which you build the building. So you see 20 cybercore, And now I'm supposed to build the pylon. I accidentally built the gas first because I was so busy speaking to myself. This guy is pissing off. Bumpy dumpy dum. So with my first scout, like I said, I'm just making sure, confirming A, that there's a barracks at home. B, I want to check what timing that barracks is. And then ideally, C, I want to check what unit comes out of the barracks. And you do that, Marine builds a lot faster than the Reaper. So you can kind of patrol on this ramp. And if the Marine comes out, you can still run away with your probe as well. It will survive at like 6 HP or something like that, or 5 HP, whatever. You don't want to be there when the Reaper pops out. You don't really want to confirm that with this probe. You don't want to lose it. So now I know it's a Reaper. And this is what I mean. So imagine if he had straight Marine. Instead of having to build this unit, he could go factory, straight reactor. Because he would just have 50 more gas. So that factory could have gone down a lot quicker. Now, that's not the case because he needs this Marine. And then he gets the factory. It's, it's pretty late. You know? So I'm just going to get an adapt. Now, you can patrol this here if you want to go back in later to get some more information. I don't actually tend to do that against barracks first play, where they get the barracks before the gas. Let's see. Twilight Council goes down. Now, I like to get a sentry second. So my first unit's going to be a chrono boosted adept. I get my warp gate. Then I get a sentry. Then I get a Twilight Council. I really like this build order opener. Then I followed up with a stalker and a gateway. I only chrono boost the adept and the sentry. The stalker doesn't get chrono boosted. That guy can suck it. Now, actually, one of the better build orders against a Twilight Council opener is a triple mine drop or a double mine drop. So he got pretty lucky because he had very little information. Whenever you send out that hallucination, it's important, usually, to keep it alive, to see what unit pops from the starport. Whether it's a Liberator, whatever it is. Don't forget, if there's no tech lab on it, it can really only be 3 units. And that's the Medevac, the Liberator, and the Viking. Which, the Viking is very unlikely unless you're playing Stargate. It's still possible that they build it. It's nice to know, because it knows what type of aggression they can do or what they can do. So imagine you see this. Imagine I don't lose it, and we just have a look at it. Right now I'm seeing Marine production from a barracks. I'm seeing mine production or Hellion production, but as I already see mine, you almost never see a mix of mines and Hellions. I'm almost 100% sure this is going to be a mine drop once I see this locking on to my Phoenix. Now imagine there's a tech lab here and I don't lose it. Ideally, I want to see what type of unit pops out. Is it a Cyclone? Is it a tank? Is it a Thor? And is my opponent dropped on his head one too many times as a kid? These are the questions you want to be asking. And also, if there's a tech lab on here, usually you can't see what unit pops out. But if there's no cloak being researched, or if there's nothing being researched on the tech lab, oftentimes it's a Raven, you know? And not a Banshee, but sometimes they will fake it. So if you see a tech lab on here, usually what I recommend to do is to get a battery in your main base and in your third base near your mineral line, and then just get a robo a little faster than perhaps you want to. So I'd get a robo right away right now and just get one observer at home, send one observer across the map, and then single Banshees can be stopped by having one battery in the base, and also Raven Harass gets stopped by having a battery. So a battery is good in your main base against a tech lab that you could potentially spot here. Now, at this point, I'm still not sure if it's going to be a 3 Rex or if it's going to be a triple CC, because he hasn't started his barracks yet. I lose my hallucination, which sucks. But yeah, I do know that it's going to be a mine drop. And then my response to a mine drop, of course, is I want to know where the mine drop is coming from so I can position my units. I already showed that in the game. See, by the way, that the timing on the barracks, usually the same time Terran starts building their barracks as they stop producing from their starport and factory. So the moment they start building the tech labs, that's when the barracks come down, majority of the time. So yeah, tech lab. And then they have 2 choices. They can still build a tank and a Raven from here, or they can just straight swap them and have a faster timing. Now, like I said, I want to figure out where my opponent is coming from. So the best thing to do is to basically have vision on one side completely. In this case, I picked the left side because it's the easiest to get vision on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I can put my army here and still be able to respond to any type of threat. So this is absolutely perfect. The only thing is you need to be quite quick, because if you're too slow and your army's out of position, it would really suck. So here I'm in position on the right side of my mineral line, and I know that at this point, unless it's coming from here or here, I can always see it on the minimap. So I'm just intensely looking at the minimap around 440, 445. So I see it immediately. I immediately respond as well. And I move down. My blink isn't done yet because I opened fast hallucination. And then boom. Right click the meta pack. Run away with everything after you right clicked it. And then let 2 probes die. And you see them switching targets like an absolute tryhard, but that's the kind of stuff doesn't fly in my world. Now, I said here it's relatively safe to move out. And it really is. Now, if we think about timings, if he, in theory, he could have a second, what you call it? In theory, he could have a second medevac on the way with 3 mines. But if that's the case, these tech labs wouldn't be done yet. These barracks could thus only produce Marines, and they would just now, well, they wouldn't even be swapping yet at this point. I think maybe it would take a little longer even. So there might be like probably two mines in like coming towards your base, but you would be able to blink into his main base and fight an army of, what is this, 10, 12, 13 Marines maybe by the time you arrive, more like 15. And you can jump in the base with the help of a hallucination. If you have 7 stalkers with blink, you're just going to be able to probably kill every single Marine here. It's going to be very difficult for him to ever get a push going, and you just warp in 2 units at home to deal with the mines at your place. So I think it would still be a pretty okay situation, honestly. See, my worker count's actually relatively low. I'm surprised by that. It must mean that I forgot to continuously produce workers. Okay, so here I'm making workers, here I'm making workers. Here I'm not making workers, you see that? How many did I lose? I lost 2 workers, but I didn't produce workers for almost 12 seconds. So I'm down 2 extra workers because of that as well. That's actually a mistake. But yeah, so I move across the map because most common people don't send double medevac drops unless they're playing triple CC. And if they're playing triple CC, they're definitely gonna die to whatever follow-up I have. So this was a pretty safe move out. I target down the Marauder. I actually should have seen that this is 5 racks. I didn't realize it. I mean, I already saw a Marauder and I saw 2 extra barracks. And because the reactor always stays on the first barracks, this never moves. You only have the factory that's building a tech lab and the starboard that's building a tech lab switch with barracks. This means that I now know there's 5 barracks at least. And you could have 6 barracks. That makes no sense, but it's possible. So yeah, just by seeing the front, I figured it out. And by seeing the Marauder. Because I know there has to be a barracks with a tech lab at this point already. I should have probably attacked these SCVs rather than right-click this. That was a mistake. Then I lost 2 stalkers, which is also a mistake. Go up to 8 gates. Now, I like to keep my stalkers on the map so I can do a little bit of poking on the Marines. I get 2, 3, 4 Marines. I can even stand in the middle of the map for a little bit longer. If you do this, there is something that is going to happen to you sometimes. It's where they walk to the other side. So usually, if I decide to try and kite him for even longer, I will put like 1 stalker over here and then 4 stalkers over here. So if he comes here, I can't kite him, but at least I know that my stalkers, hey, the guys, we need to move to the other side, and maybe I can catch him here and then kill 1 or 2 more Marines until he reaches my base. Now this is really just higher level stuff, okay? Don't worry too much about that. We have a cannon, battery coming down because I'm afraid of mines. Armory, second eBay. He has a 3rd base done already. Very fast 3rd base, by the way. Not bad. So that's really what, right now, the only things I really want to know are like, hey, does he have a 3rd base or not? Because if he doesn't have a 3rd base, maybe I want to add like 2 extra batteries here and another battery here, you know? Because I'm afraid, like, well, what if What if you just SCV pools with 5 racks or something like that without a third base? I need to be ready for that. I do have a lot of sentries ready, so it probably wouldn't be that big of an issue. Get some force field down. This should have already been going in at this point. I'm a little bit slow with that. And whenever you go in with a prism, so the way you want to do it is you want to have the prism be able to kind of save your zealots. I'm not sure why I didn't do that. That makes absolutely no sense. I must have been looking at something really different. I think I was building Robo Bay and Robotics 50. Yeah, there we go. But it's a waste to just throw away these 3 zealots. You know, now I need to warp in 3 more zealots, just 300 minerals. I could have saved it for free. I should have started a second forge at this point as well, even though I was a little bit afraid that this was just a fake third base, basically. Sometimes they get a third base and they just pull like 20 SCVs and they move out with it, and they don't invest in any extra tech. So it's just like basically a hidden 5 racks of some sort. Now, my map control or my map vision is pretty decent. I have some pylons on the right side. This prism here with counterattacks. Now, people always say, well, the prism doesn't ever do any damage for me. But the thing with the prism is that it forces units to stay home. So usually the rally at least is going to be at home, which means defending at your own house is going to be a lot easier. So 2 zealots go in. Just right click some of these guys. And this is kind of how you're supposed to do it. Ideally you have space for everyone involved, but Cowboy Billy over there, he couldn't get in. Start my Colossi production. Now, like I said, he actually needs to rally at home. That's what he does. So that means every single time he's moving out, there's gonna be like 10, 12 supply perhaps that just isn't with the army for him. Which is very good for me, obviously. So, the moment I see units, I don't even care about dropping. I'm just gonna... I could, like, drop in the natural and try to kill 1 or 2 workers and pop back to the main base. But if I'm a little bit afraid that that might overextend me, attention-wise, I just won't do it. I drop in 4 more zealots. Bompy-dompy-dom. Really... For 2 reasons. 1, I want to see if there's a 4th base on location, and if so, I want to cancel it. And 2, I want to try and do some damage and clear these units out of the main base. Okay? That's the main plan. So that multiple things at the same time are happening. He is trying to control an army on my side of the map. And he also needs to defend this, and then he needs to defend this. So there's really a bunch of things happening here, and he's going to be ready for 2 of them. So he's ready for this, and he was ready for the thing in the natural, but he wasn't ready for this. So he just ends up losing a big portion of his army for, well, not quite free, but for a very low price. So quite a bit of money, but of course warping. Now I should be chronoing out some probes, or at least making sure that I get some extra probes there. Doesn't necessarily need to be chronoed, I just need my probes to be there. And now I actually make the mistake of the game, which should have lost me the game, but it didn't. But it really should have. Whenever you're attacking into an area, no matter what race you play against, you always need to be aware of any potential flanks. So you can know how to position your army. As a Protoss in PvT, when you have Colossi, you want to be able to kite back your opponent's army, preferably with some force fields. Honestly, I thought I was so far ahead that I could just aim move him. Looking back at that now, I see that's wrong. I also lost my prism, which is annoying. He built 2 Vikings. So now how do you spot flanks? Very easy. As you're walking up somewhere, you just send 1 zealot over here. That will spot the flank. And if you see a flank coming, you can just move down over here to this area, and you should have absolutely no issues. So yeah, right here, it's like, well, he's just gonna come from one side, but the problem is it's the side I don't expect him to come from. And also, my attention is split, because even though there's not a lot of units, these units are still gonna take some of the Colossi fire. So you see, this is not quite going how I wanted to. These stalkers are wasting a lot of damage on these SCVs. 1 Colossi that was rallied across the map now walks into the arms of these marauders, and even though I kill a lot of workers, and this is why I said, I still think I won the game, and I still think I probably did win the game, I made it way closer than it should have been. Now, here we can actually... I was too confident and too cocky still. So, a couple of mistakes I made here. I don't mind the disruptors too much because they build faster than Colossi, but I think I should have at least gotten 1 Colossi. So 2 disruptors, 1 Colossi. I should have been building batteries, like my life depended on it. I should have built like 3 batteries here, maybe a cannon here as well, because the limiting factor at this point really is just that I can't warp in. I have 8 gateways and I have plenty of money, I just don't have the time to warp in. So whenever there's a warp in available, I want to be getting sentries and stalkers and zealots. But if I don't have it available and I have money left over, I want to be getting batteries and stuff like that. Because I know he has to counterattack. I just killed freaking 30 workers, right? So he has to, or I have to. Yeah, this fight actually turns out being way closer than it ever should have been. Or this game. I mean, this fight, I'm pretty sure if you give a top player this army, like Clem or Hero Marine or Sol, or one of the Koreans, Thermal, Special, whatever. I'm pretty sure they win this. Because I don't have any real fighting power here. And he does. Even though his control really wasn't that bad. I was kind of surprised. Like, good split. I think I hit 1 good one now. Yeah, that shouldn't have happened. But even now, like, I really just have nothing. And I'm pretty sure I'm just dead. He also could have gone for the probes, which also probably would have made me lose the game. Now he has to go back, or at least semi-go back. But the game is semi-even again. Accidentally pressed the wrong button. Yeah. Well, semi-even. I'm up like 500 income per minute, which isn't great for him. He hasn't really been producing workers during all of this. He thought he could win here, probably. I also thought he could win here. But these force fields were good, and then I hit 2 good disruptor shots. Well, I hit 1 decent disruptor shot. I don't think it's a single good disruptor shot, actually. And he's running out of energy, so that's nice as well. At this point, I was pretty sure I was winning again. Which is always nice. It's always nice to be sure that you're winning again. I have a DT as well who did some damage here. It actually helped a lot, denying some of his eco. Now I can get a 5th base, blah 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 blah. And I'm just constantly checking his army, whether that's with single harassment units or with observers or with hallucinations. You want to see what your opponent is getting so you can anticipate what he's doing. Now, a lot of the time we're either seeing liberators. If your opponent gets liberators, it means they can't really move out unless you give them space. So whenever your opponent gets liberators, you want to be very active on the map. Because in order to attack you, he needs to get into a good position. And if you can deny him good positions or force him to keep sieging up and then doing run-bys with like DTs and stuff like that, that can be very powerful. So imagine he has like 6 liberators here. You're just going to move your army here, have an observer in this area, have like 7 or 8 blink DTs over here. And then when he starts moving out, you can send in the blink DTs. You can maybe even send in a prism from here like this. Bam, bam, bam. Go in, or you can send a zealot run by. And so the moment he moves out, you just make sure he needs to return because of the size of your counterattacks. And he can't really fight into you because you have Colossi and Disruptor. And then eventually, maybe he gets to your side of the map, but he has no bases left. You can just flank him from 2 sides, or you can take a slightly inefficient engagement. But because you're mining way more, you can still win it. That's really the way you play against stuff like Liberators. Similar to what you do with tanks. Just make sure that whenever you play against a turtle Terran, that you have a lot of vision on the map, because they can still drop around. So imagine there's 7 Liberators here. Sometimes Terran will like drop like 3 medevacs here, and you need to be able to deal with that. So lots of cannons, a lot of batteries, lots of vision on the map with observers, with units. Making sure that whenever he's trying to drop, you can see it. And then maybe you can attack into the turtle position. If you see like, hey, 6 medevacs are missing, and they're on the left side, like over here right now. My army is here. I can straight up attack into him, and I'm way ahead if it ever gets to a base trade, because he still needs to fly all the way to my base, and then you can just recall. So what very often happens against these turtle compositions is Terran tries to counterattack, and then you can just shut it down like that, where you figure out, hey, it's a counterattack, let me just kill him. Then you recall to one of your outside bases, and you just kill the base for free, and he did absolutely nothing. And then usually Terrans get angry, and they flame you a bit. And that's exactly what we want. Rest of this game, honestly, is not that interesting. I just get a lot of disruptors, and then I win the fight. This Marauder was so suspicious to me. Holy crap, I've never seen a more suspicious... He was so keen on this. Look at this. This stupid pylon. I knew it. I just knew what was happening. It sucked that I didn't have enough supply available. I did have a recall. Probably should just straight away recall. Oh well. You live, you learn, I guess. I mean, I won the fight so hard. Yeah, at this point the game just ends and I win the game. And congratulations, I get 2 points because my MMR is really high on this account. Well, that actually just was it for today's Harstem Hour, I think. 40 minutes of high-level analysis of one of my own games. Don't expect this to happen every single week, guys. This is a special episode. Thanks all for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Leave a thumbs up. And there's more videos on the side. I hope to see you all next time. And tomorrow I have my tour of Rotterdam with an AMA. So I hope you guys will watch that as well. Get hyped. It's better than the GOAT video. Bye bye.